2, 1. Good morning, everyone. We're super happy that you were here this morning. Kim, I assume you have look at the view. Hello, Stephanie. I'm going to make you co-host as well. Good morning, everybody. Exciting to have you here. You know, one of the things we were just talking about before the recording began, might as well transition it, is you get to determine the kind of day you're going to have. Paula's birthday is today, and her statement was, I have to work.
Yeah, but can I interrupt you? I've got
Don't put your button away. Go ahead.
2 calls with 2 capping agents starting at 11:15.
Did you sandbag us? Are you starting on this freedom chart right away? Look at you.
So, and then once I talk to him, I'm going to get Sean to talk to him with me.
Well, that's the way to do it. So we're excited to have everybody here today. We're going to launch something called the freedom chart. The graphics of what you're about to see, some of which will change, although it won't change the concept behind it. You know, I said a minute ago that we launch into the week. This is the Monday of every week, right? Every Monday is a day that you can really set your week off straight. One of the things I was going to reference to you, in fact, I think I want to read this to you. I was driving this morning to tennis at far below early hour. Nobody ever wakes up at 5 in the morning and goes, yes, I get to go to Zumba. Nobody ever does that. But I get up around 6 o'clock in the morning and go, yep, I get to play tennis today. So again, it's nice to start your day with not something you're supposed to do, but additionally something you enjoy doing. And so one of the things I do is I start every day with something I really enjoy doing. It gets my head to the right spot. But as I was driving today, I actually dictated this to my wife. I wanted to send it to her. And I wrote this: as I drive to tennis this morning, I'm overtaken by a feeling that often hits me at this time of day. I feel really good physically, I'm relaxed mentally, and I'm truly happy, leaning towards a bit of excitement for the day itself. I don't make myself feel this way. I arrive here. Something in my existence connects me to this feeling or this presence. The more often I'm here, the better I believe my life to be. Now, I did not write that this morning with the intention of reading it this morning, but it is the feeling I have on a regular basis because a number of years ago, I set myself up with the residual type income. And it's come forth in a number of different companies with a number of different streams. And I'm going to start today with the end in mind. I'm going to let you know that when you are living a life that is by design, when you're living a life where you're no longer governed, controlled, directed by the need for having to go to work or having to get money. And I am not trying to get you out of real estate. It's not what I'm trying to do, although some of you would raise your hand gladly. What I'm truly trying to do is give you an idea that if you knew that your bills were paid, how would you go about your life, even your career? I pick EXP because I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. And if you had more money coming in, you may enjoy doing what you're doing more also. So Sean, why are you laughing and smiling at me when I'm talking about that?
It's just so true. I mean, I just did a presentation before this with a few people in Jay's group, and I tell you what, I just the reference I go back to is how miserable I was prior to passive income. And again, same thing. I'm not saying quit selling real estate, but when I saw EXP, I was 51, and I'd been like, anybody else that was my age, been working for 30 years. And I just remember, maybe it was me because of some of the neighbors I had that had different professions, but every January 1st, just going, oh my gosh, I got to do this again. And you got to usually do more than you did the year before just to keep up with inflation. Somewhere along that path, I began to go, God, there's got to be a better way. And when I found out you could make passive income other than selling insurance, I went after it with every ounce of my being and did fairly well prior to EXP, but still didn't get to where I wanted to. All I know is this is a model that can set you free. And I love what we're doing, Eric. The foundation of get your first 6, wipe out your cap. Help those each get 1, create 3,000 a month, which is about, you guys, you start making 3,000 a month passively, that'd be like, 36,000 a year. Somewhere between about 700,000 to $1 million needs to be set aside after taxes and expenses to kick you back 3,000 a month and not touch the principal. I'd ask each one of you, how are you doing with that so far? Because I know the answer that most of us on here do not have 700,000, $1 million. Some of us will never, ever save it. I was going down that path after I lost a huge investment. This replenished it all and then some in less than 2 years. What we're rolling out right now, Eric, is genius. Now we help those 6 get 1. How many of those want to offset their cap? 6 who get 6 in your whole life is changed. You can do exactly what Eric felt this morning. Wake up and just feel free to go, what do I want to focus on today? I don't have to do anything. I choose to do exactly what I want to because it gives you joy. And a lot of it right now is giving back. I mean, Eric, I'm right where you're at. And to give back to you guys, I want you to want it so bad that you look up a year or 2 from now and go, thank God I got into this little promotion and you stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and get to that first 6, wipe it out. Get those each, bring in 1, get yourself 3,000 a month. Focus on capping agents. Go make a list of everyone you know that does 3 million or greater. Anyway, I'm fired up about this whole thing being rolled out and hope and pray that every one of you on here and then some start to stick to this and we all begin to build off each other. Okay, one thing you said last week, Eric, that really hit me, let's just go to approximately 1,000 a week are joining. Can you just get one of those? 999, don't worry about those. They're joining anyway. Can you get one of the 1,000 to be on your team? It's a matter of just picking up and starting to make outbound calls and staying consistent with it. So anyway, just kind of smiling because I hope that resonated with people, that you have that ability to wake up and just sense freedom. Time and money, you have them both, but yet you still come here like I do because we're trying to pour into you to get you to that point, because it's a point of freedom that's pretty hard to explain. So I hope and pray for everybody to receive it.
Yeah, well, Sean, I mean, you're at the top of this leadership group, if you will, this whole Freedom Team. You know, we're the founders of Freedom Team. We happen to lead the Freedom Team into existence, and now we're looking for the next group of people that want to lead themselves to the freedom that the Freedom Team offers. I'm going to change some ideas today, not ideals. That's up to you. But by me changing some ideas this morning, I'm going to do it right away. I haven't talked about this at all. This is brand new to everybody that's listening. What I'm going to talk about is the way we think about recruiting and attracting, and the way we think about EXP, and the way we think about the calls we're making, and the way we think about what people think when we're calling, and the way we think about this, and the way we think about that, and the way we think about that, and the way we think about everything is the reason we're working too hard. Because if you're thinking too much, you're working too hard. I'm going to, if you'll allow me today, over the next hour, we're going to talk about how to create in your mind the ability to go out there and understand that what we're about to do, 6 who get 6, is a worthy project for you to put into your calendar on a daily basis, because every day you skip pushes off the inevitable. The inevitable is your freedom, not death. The inevitable is your ability to wake up and have what Sean and I have been talking about, the ability to decide what you want to do on Monday, March 6th. Oh, you couldn't because you didn't do what we needed to before March 6th, 2023. But you're going to wake up again, God willing, on March 6th, 2024. And for some of you, it'll be 2025. And for some of you, you'll need to 2026. And for a handful of you, you may need 2027 or 2028. But in the reality of what we did, we understand that over the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to set yourself up for a $10,000+ a month income. And Sean, you were referencing a $36,000 year income, and it is a $750,000 to $1 million of capital invested somewhere. After making it, after taxing, after expensing, you're left with $750,000 to $1 million. And that brings in $36,000 a year. But if you do 3 times that, that's like putting $2 to $4 million away. $2 to $4 million away. And the way you're going to do it is either put $2 to $4 million away, or over the next 2 months or 6 months, you're going to sponsor 1 agent. I want you to hear this. You've got, if it's a 5-year plan, you have 6 months to sponsor 1 agent. And so what I'm going to do today is teach you some things that don't take talent. So when you go to talk to an agent, the right ones will answer you. So you're not foraging through the difficult ones. Now, That's a 6 months to find one agent. What about if you want to find that agent in 2 or 3 months, that first agent? Because the goal again is 6 agents over the next 2 to 5 years who each go out and find 6 agents of their own. So let me start with this. I'm honored, privileged that not only is my group, my peers given me the role of leadership for this specific project, but I'm about to launch something to each and every one of you that's never been seen anywhere, not by any other brokerage, not by any other agent in EXP, and it's called the Freedom Chart. Now, for those of you who've been around the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, you've seen some precursors of what we're going to run with, and this isn't the final version of it. But what I want to show you is how cool this really is. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do to facilitate it. Now, before I get into the depth of it, I want everybody to know this. If your goal is to participate in this 6 Who Get 6 program, it's really not a promotion, it's a program in the wealth chart, okay? It leads you to the Freedom Chart. Anybody that's been around the company for the last whatever years has heard of Rob Flick's wealth chart. And what he talks about is how to keep control over all your prospects, seeing who's moving in and how to open up each level. And I think it's a phenomenal chart. But for those of you that need a strategy where you need a dart and you go, that's next, and then that's next, that's what this Freedom Chart was born with. So what I'm going to do is talk for a few minutes. And what I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do is fight the urge to think you've heard all of it. Because I'm going to drop little bombs along the way, like the one I'm about to drop now, and I don't want you to miss it. And this chart is designed for those of you that don't want to recruit. Now, it's okay if you do want to recruit, it's a great chart for you as well. But if you're a person that really just doesn't want to recruit, for whatever the reason, you don't want to be in that role, this isn't a recruiting project. It's just a real estate project. And I'm not playing with your brain, I'm letting you play with your brain. I want you to understand, when you say to yourself, I'm coming to EXP, I'm coming to this program on March 6, 2023, and what I want to do is over the next 2 to 5 years, in a side project, I'm just going to ask agents as I come across them if they're open to look at why 80,000 agents have moved to EXP. I'm just going to learn how to ask them that question. That's about as soft as you can be. Hey, would you be interested in knowing why I moved and why 80,000 agents have moved to EXP in the last 5 years? I'm okay if you don't change brokerages, but you really should look why we're all coming. If you're comfortable saying that line, you'll win here. Now, if you want to learn a better way to say it, a more productive way to say it, you might want to learn the script that we all use. And again, I won't go into the details on that. I'll just tell you, we have a script that we use that seems to work very well, because none of us want to feel like we're not prepared when we're calling somebody. So you can't be prepared for what they say, but you can be prepared to find the right one. And by asking the right question, the right one answers the right answer. Let me say it again. You're not looking for all the agents. You're looking for the one that's going to say yes. That's not recruiting. That's leading. See, it's easier to lead someone than it is to recruit them. Let me explain the difference. Recruiting them is getting them to look at something and come to something that they're not presently coming to. They don't know how to be led to EXP, and this is the way you lead them, by asking them if they're open to look at what everybody else knows. If they're not open to look at what everybody else knows, then they know it all. What do know-it-alls generally do when you call them and ask them to do anything? What do? They're aggressive, they're quick, they're short-tempered. So remember, you're calling people to ask if they're open to look. You're not telling them they have to. Now, some of you have relationships where you should tell people, hey, you need to take a look at this, dude. I'm okay if you come or don't come, but you really need to take a look at it. We're not going to get into inviting here. We are going to remind all of you, if you ever want to really jump in this agent attraction piece and you want to do the Freedom Chart, I'm going to recommend you listen to the recording from January 2nd of this year. It'll set your mindset. It'll teach you every step. We don't need to rehash it here. January 2nd recording. And if you don't know where it is, I'm sure someone will post it in the chat. Number one, it's in the Freedom Team feed. Number two, and you can find everything at freedomteamsupport.com. freedomteamsupport.com. There's a lot of new things being added to that page. It's a public facing page. It's not in Workplace under the Freedom Team group, although that's a great place to go. freedomteamsupport.com has a boatload of stuff for you to view. Here we go. The Freedom Chart. Now, this is a version that we're going to run with of the Freedom Chart. Thumbs up, Paula Piskey, if you can see that clear on your screen. Is that okay? Sean Sturrock, can you see that on your screen comfortably? Good deal. Now, if you'll notice on it, it says the Freedom Chart, your 2 to 5 year plan to freedom, and get your $16,000 cap repaid. That's the motivation of this for everybody. Nobody wants to write the check, and we'd rather someone else pay the $16,000. Well, why don't we attract some agents that would like to know why others are coming? What's in it for them? And all we've got to do, understand, is lower left, 6 frontline agents is $16,800 if they're all cappers. We handle that now. You can talk to any agent you choose. But if they're going in this Freedom Chart, if you're going to put them in your Freedom Chart and they would like to offset their cap as well, then they need to be a capping agent. Now, does that mean that people that are not capping agents, they can't do this? No, they can. But for us to understand, we're looking for capping agents because capping agents are worth $2,800 per year to us in the first level. And when they bring capping agents, that's worth $3,200 in the second level. So again, I'm reminding everybody, please remember, most important piece is this is all based on us continuing to build capping agents. It's like building a wall with brick. But you're not going to pick up brick on one, you're going to pick up cardboard. And we know over the course of time, cardboard is not a great building material. I'd recommend we only talk to capping agents for this chart. And once you put Mickey Mouse in, you're going to put his name right here. I already put Mickey Mouse's name in, and he's a capping agent. So I'm going to click that box right there, and I'm now 2,800 to the green. Or the black, but we made it green. And then over the next couple of months beyond that, I'm going to sponsor Elvis Presley. I'm up to 5,600. Then I'm going after Bugs Bunny, and I got him, 8,400. While I'm doing that, Elvis brought on Loretta Lynn, frontline. And because Loretta Lynn has been put in, I added that 3,200 right there. Everybody can sort of see how it works. You go through, you engage the cell by putting a frontline qualifying agent being a capping. You don't wait for them to cap, people. If they capped in 2022, they're probably going to cap in 2023. Put their name in. By the way, if they did not cap in 2022, they're probably not going to cap in 2023. Don't put their name in. But if you clicked all 6 boxes and only 6 boxes, you would have just put together a $16,800 Freedom Chart. You now succeeded in your first, listen to this, year. Golden Nugget, number 1. An agent that has not yet called everyone on his warm list has a better time sponsoring agents than people who have. In other words, although some of us have been here for a year or 5, and our list is a bit exhausted, the person we bring in has a brand new list and brand new excitement, and they would like to offset their cap. So it will be easier helping your 6 people bring in their 6 than it will for some of us to bring in our 6. Does that make sense? But I still believe, no matter how long we've been playing this game, that we can believe that we can put an agent in working with our upline leader. We can work with our upline leader daily or weekly in order to sponsor one capping agent between now and the next 2 months. How many of you believe, show of hands, working with your upline leader? And that may mean just being accountable to them, and it may be using them regularly. Some of you don't know how to do a presentation, we'll do it for you. Some of you don't know how to answer questions, we'll answer questions for you. But it's your job to get them to watch a presentation. Now, some of the leaders will do it live for you. Some of you know how to do it yourself. And some of you don't know which presentation to use. If you don't know which presentation to use, you can go to freedomteamsupport.com. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of things there, freedomteamsupport.com. Over here on the right, you'll see presentations. If you click on presentations, here's all the presentations with the time frames. Watch them and use them. They're all there. But I want to ask you by a show of hands, how many of you believe working with your upline leader, you can sponsor at least one capping agent in the next 2 months? Raise your hand. Nike says, just do it. Nike's there's a new movie coming out, done, I think it's produced or directed by Ben Affleck, and he is a starring role in it, and he wears a really bad rug. He's just does not look good in the hat that he's wearing, in the hair that he's wearing. But with that said, let's use that term, just do it. I believe you can sponsor an agent in 2 months that's capping. I believe that. So what you're going to do is you're going to notify us that you're going to be part of the Freedom Team. Chart specific, Freedom Team chart. You want to be part of the Freedom chart, which means you need to let us know so we can create a chart that you can fill out. It's your chart. We're going to give access to your chart to your upline leader, if that's okay with you, so they can monitor what you're doing. And I'd like to keep access to everybody that's doing it as well, so I can encourage you guys as well. So again, you're going to receive what I just showed you, your own chart, and it looks just like that. You'll put your name right here. And first thing you're going to do is ask, do you have a downline, frontline capping agent who wants to offset their cap as well? Yes, great. Put their name in right here. If you don't, you're starting at 0 like most everybody else. And you've got 2 months to 6 months to bring in your first. Now, I wouldn't wait 2 months. I wouldn't wait 6 months. But I want you to understand that if you'll notify us that you want to be part of this Freedom Chart group, let your upline leader, and you know who that is, the person that's an upline leader to you that founded the Freedom Team. That could be Sean Sturrock, who's the catch-all to everybody. It could be me, could be Jeff Morrell, Tim Hollenden, could be Kathy Carter, Stephanie Gillison. Any of us, if you know that you're working directly with us, we'd like to work with you on this project. Because just so you know, if you're frontline to us, 132,000 to you means 94,000 to us. We're happy to help. If you're in our group, we're still happy to help. It'll mean a little less to us, but it'll mean the same amount to you. And it's not about what we get out of it. It's what you get out of it. And we'll do okay, I promise. So let me pause for a minute. Got about 20 minutes. We've covered a lot of things. Jeff, if I've missed something specific, I know that you're looking intently. But does anybody have a question or comment about anything that you've heard? Don't hesitate. We've got another half hour. We're going to go through some more information. But I'm excited about you guys jumping on this $132,000 train. What questions or comments do you have?
Hey, can I jump in, Eric?
Please do.
Hey, just to confirm, if you've got less than 5 of your first line recruits, for lack of a better term. Say one of those recruits went out and recruited 100 second tier people. You don't get to tap into the second tier until you have 5 or 6 of the first tier. Is that correct?
The rev share says you need 5 frontline qualifying agents, which means they've sold one house roughly in 6 months, every 6 months. So once you have 5 capping agents, you would then qualify for that second level.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Now,
Thank you.
again, some of you may have 5 agents, but if they're not selling properties, they're not qualified agents. And if they're not capping, they don't qualify for what we're doing here in the Freedom Chart. Does not make them bad people. Just means they're not going to fit in your chart for the moment. Anybody else got a question or comment?
I do, Eric. I noticed,
ahead,
I was
Nancy.
looking at our RevShare screen this morning, and it said the FLQ date or something was blank on one of them. Does that mean that they aren't qualified agents yet, or is that,
I'm not looking at your back office, but that's probably what it means.
okay?
Here's the best way to do it. If you go to your back office and you hit on the rev share, and along the top, it'll tell you how many frontline agents, and then it'll say next to it, frontline qualifying agents, right there. You click on that box, it'll show you who's qualifying and what dates they're qualified to. It won't show you their capping in that date. We won't go to there, but you can go and find your capping agents. We're not going, this is not about a deep dive to everybody to go into your back office. My guess is all of you will probably have to go out and find 5 or 6 brand new agents to start this program. And that's okay. You've got 2 to 5 years to do it. Angie, did I answer your question? Thumbs up. We're good?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Don't hesitate. Ask away. Benjamin, you got a question? Good deal. Anybody else?
Hey, Eric. So my sponsor is Rob Campbell. Do I go to Sean Sturrock to get my chart or go to Rob?
Well, I would recommend, first of all, there isn't a better person in EXP to work with than Rob Campbell. His background is stellar. He's unbelievable and he'll help you. I would recommend you go to Sean for the Freedom Chart, but I would highly recommend you work with Rob for your 3 ways and working with him and making sure, because he's so good at what he does. Sean will make sure you understand the rules of the game that we're playing, but Rob will easily help you build it.
Okay, Sean, I'm ready for it.
Come on.
Let your upline leader know who, that you're playing the game and we're ready to go. One of the things we're going to do, Deborah, we'll go to you next. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up our Monday and Thursday calls. Keep looking for this. Monday will still be a lifeblood call. It'll be a call for people. We'll be talking about agent attraction. Thursday may go to you working directly with your upline leader and handling some of the heavy lifting. What we're thinking about doing is bringing in different ways to attract people on Mondays, but doing the Freedom Chart heavy duty business on Thursdays. Okay, that's what we're thinking. Keep looking for that, but Monday and Thursday is still safe places to come for agent attraction. Deborah, your question.
Well, hello, Eric. I've seen you on my tips of the day quite a bit, so thank you. One thing that I just, because I joined the end of April of last year, and I've been doing this for a long time. Sean, I've been on plenty of calls with him. He knows me 20 something years. But one of the things that kind of confused me when I first came over was, like what Tony was just saying, who do we go to in our upline for things? Because it like all of a sudden Freedom Team just came into me and I'm like, where did Freedom Team come from? So I guess maybe explaining a little bit about how all these teams integrate would be.
First of all, we're glad you're here and thanks for asking the question. You can put your hand down. We'll still keep answering your question, I promise. And so let me start by saying this. Everybody that's part of the Freedom Team, you're on the Freedom Team because of the line of sponsorship that you're on. It comes down from Sean Sturrock through the leaders that Sean has and a group of us, including Jay Nelson, who doesn't plug in as often to the Freedom Team, but encourages his people to be in it, because he is. All of Sean's people are in the Freedom Team. Now, with that said, the word team doesn't represent a real estate group the way it does officially in transactions here. It's really the Freedom Group, okay? Now, the Freedom Group or the Freedom Team, as we call it, we meet regularly, again, every day at this time for something. We all know that. The calendar, you're all getting tips of the day. You're all getting a calendar on Sunday. Kim's doing a great job with that. Some of you are learning KV Core through us. Again, freedomteamsupport.com to find out more about the KV Core Mastery Program. It's going really well for those that want to generate their own leads. But what happens is this. Only about 12% of the agents are really at all interested, Deborah, in agent attraction. Only about 12%. Now, my goal is for having everybody participate in this freedom chart. Why? Because I don't consider it recruiting. And the reason I don't consider it recruiting is because you would tell some other agent to come to your brokerage even if you weren't in EXP. It's part of what agents do. So I don't want you to stop doing that. Hey, if you find someone that's not happy where they are, bring them here. You might as well ask if they are happy where they are. And if not, bring them here. But the bottom line is, since only about 12% of the agents focus at all on agent attraction, Deborah, many of us have sponsors or uplines that don't focus on agent attraction. So what you should do is go to your sponsor for all things real estate. If they can't help you, then go to anyone else. Go to your sponsor for all things rev share. If they won't help you, go to someone else. In the agent attraction side, you would go to their sponsor and their sponsor and their sponsor and their sponsor. And if you go to your back office, you can look in and find your line of sponsorship as well. You will find one of the founders of EXP's Freedom Team as an upline. All of us are within 7 levels of all of us, somewhere, one of us. And so that's your upline helper, leader for agent attraction. Not for real estate transactions, but for agent attraction. Okay, because the Freedom Team leaders have all decided that we're going to play that role for our group unless someone else in our group plays the role as well. When it comes to getting more transactions, you of course go to your broker team, you can go to anyone in real estate, and you can go to what we would call other organizations, other lines of sponsorship to talk about real estate stuff all day long. But for a line of sponsorship for agent attraction, you should stick with the one that sponsored you because we're the ones vested the most. Deborah, does that answer all of it? Good deal. So with that said, I didn't check the chat box. If there's something there, anybody who need to tell me about that, that's great. Anybody else have a question or comment before I continue?
Can I throw out something, Eric? Can you hear me
Please.
okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? I'm on a new laptop. I'm in a coffee shop right now
You're
in Indianapolis. Real quick, guys, because I know there's a lot of new people in here, and I know we're going to get into some practicals and different things here. I just want to emphasize to you guys, like, just the power of this and how it's simpler than you want to make it out to be. This is not an all or nothing kind of thing. One of the things that I've heard, I've been here for 5 years. One of the things I hear a lot with agents, they want to do the agent attraction, but I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. We're coming into the spring season. It's going to get busier and busier. You're going to hear this. I mean, if you make 3 calls a day, 5 days a week, that's 15 calls, and it should not take you more than 15 minutes a day to do that if you do it the way we teach you to do it. Because if it takes more than that, you're saying too much. And we'll talk about that. I just want to emphasize, like, just keep this simple, because the payoff, down the road, what it can be is huge. I mean, we could all use an extra $36,000 a year. We could all use an extra $132,000 a year. And that is so possible for everybody on this call. And I just want to emphasize that people are looking for stuff. I'm in Indianapolis right now. My mom is actually in surgery right now for her back and everything. Anyway, so I'm here for a couple of weeks to help her. Agent attraction is allowing me to be here for the next 2 weeks, to just be here for her, help her out, do the things I need to do. I'll be working from Zoom, but I'm going to be at her house and kind of running my schedule really around what she needs. And I'm able to do that because of what you guys are seeing here, because I've been able to build something that's paying me like this every month. I've got an agent I'm meeting right here in about an hour, and I showed her EXP 2 years ago. I called her to let her know I'm coming back. Hey, I'd love to grab a coffee while I'm there. She's like, oh my God, I was about ready to call you. It's so funny you're coming back. Yes, please. She's in panic mode right now. She hasn't made the move over yet. And she hasn't had a closing since November, and she's in panic mode. And she's feeling it. She's like, she wants to come over and see me again and get updated. And I'm hoping by the end of our meeting today, she's like, okay, give me the, where do I go? How do I join EXP? So it's just the agents, this is a great time to be showing agents this. You know, and again, you know, if she'd have joined a year ago, she could be at this point where she's not in panic mode because she had this tool to plug into, to where even though she hadn't had a closing since November, she's still getting paid 3, 4, 5,000 a month. And that's so doable with what you're seeing. So I want to emphasize it, guys, just, you know, keep this simple. We'll go into some of this. I'm sure Eric will. We're here to help you guys, whatever, but there's such a power here. And it really, you know, if you do 3 calls a day, great. If you do 5 calls, whatever you want to do it. You know, the consistency and keeping it simple, no more than 30 minutes a day, you know, can make it work. If you got more time than that, do an hour a day, whatever. The more people you call, the faster it's going to go. But this is not that hard to do. And like anything, it's uncomfortable when you first do it, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And then you can just do it in your sleep. It's like you just know what to say, you know how to answer people, you know what to do, and you can get through your calls really easy. So I just want to emphasize some of that. I don't know, just things that are hitting me as I'm sitting back here and waiting on this lady to come. I wish she'd have joined a year ago, but I hope maybe today's the day. We'll see. So anyway, there you go. My 2 cents. I'll shut up.
No, I appreciate your perspective. And one of the things to remember is a year later, she's getting in. She could have got in a year ago. If she were ready to get in a year ago, she'd have gotten in a year ago. And if she would have followed this chart, she'd have 6 frontline agents right now, and someone else would be paying her cap. And now we'd be working with those 6 frontline agents. And now, Jeff, you can show her that. So you can show her, hey, let me show you what you missed over the last year. All we would have done is brought 6 friends over the course of a year. It's not hard to do if you're a brand new agent to EXP. And I would have worked directly close with you to do that. I want everybody to remember that this is the way. And by the way, if you want to see this portion of what I'm about to show you, it is in the presentation that I do. You can find that on my YouTube page as well. You can also find it again, freedomteamsupport.com under presentations. But this is the Freedom Chart, the way it's explained in the presentation that I do. You won't find this presentation anywhere. We're talking about whether we should put it out, and it's a standalone piece, but you all should be able to explain this, and there should be enough credibility from the person you're showing it to. So if you can explain this, it looks like you could be their leader, because it's not hard to explain. All you're going to say to them is, hey, realize that, so I'd show from the beginning, all you're going to say to them is, what we're going to do is we're going to pay you 3.5% for every agent you bring. And if you bring 1 capping agent, you've made $2,800 for the year. Now, if they don't cap, which is about $3 million, you'll make a little bit less than $2,800. But if they do more than $3 million, you're not going to make more. This is how much you make by bringing a capping agent to EXP. And if they bring a half a dozen agents over the course of a year, you're going to offset your cap, because 6 times 2,800 is 16,008, which is $800 more than the cap. So now you're actually getting paid by EXP $800 extra to be here. And by the way, it would not be wrong of you to ignore what I'm about to say, but it would be foolish to ignore it. If everybody brings their best friend, just their best friend as they come, you've just turned 16,800 into 36,000, and nobody's recruited anybody. Remember, you bring someone, right? Deborah just said she came a year ago. Deborah, if someone would have said to you, let's bring 1 or 2 of your friends with you, who do you think would be most interested? Oh, Diane, let's talk to her. Oh, what about Carl would be awesome. Let's talk to him. Bring over an agent while they're coming. And now those agents are like, oh, yeah. Oh, no. And the ones you've sponsored now are like, I'm only 5 away from offsetting my cap. You help them bring 6. They've already got 1 coming. You're now making $132,000 a year. Again, there you go. The numbers don't change. This is why, and it's the language we use, and the language is real simple. The language says this: we're going to pay you $2,800 a year if you bring an agent who caps. And by the way, we might as well get someone else to pay your cap. We brought 6 agents, that would be $800 more than your cap is. Now EXP would be paying you. And by the way, if they just brought their best friend along the way, you're now making $3,000 a month on average, whether you sell properties or not. And look at this, over the next year, then you're going to help them do what you easily did. And now you're making $132,000 a year. How many houses do you want to sell now? Guys and gals, it is that simple. And that's what makes it frustrating for some of us. Because for some of us, we've been working really hard at this, but we didn't have a direct view of exactly what we were going after. Now we are. What we're adding to this revenue share game is the strategy for you to complete a victory. See, before it was just you're going at numbers. What's your number? How many you want to get to? What's the average agent? Oh, not every agent caps, and depending on what level they're on. And all of this created in your minds something that directly negatively affects your actions. It affected your belief. It's not that your belief was affected negatively because you couldn't figure out if I brought some more people and more people eventually make money, but it affected your belief because you didn't have specificity. You didn't know exactly what you were going after. And many of us have heard it's not focus that's important, it's clarity before focus. What are you focused on? Oh, I'm focused on sponsoring an agent. Nope. You're focused on bringing one in so you can complete 6 who get 6 and $132,000 a year. It is a specific thing you're going after. And for the next month, Kelly, you're going after 1. David, Judy, Sterling, Paula, you're going after 1. And once you get that 1 capping agent, you're just going after 1 more while you're helping them bring their best friend. That's all you're thinking about with agent attraction. You're not thinking about the number of calls. You're not thinking about the number of meetings. You're not thinking about who you're going to call. You're thinking about, I need 1 new personal now. Now I need 1. Oh, I got 1. Now I need a second 1. And you're going to keep doing that until you get to 6. Now, what we're going to do is recognize you along the way. For those of you that are in the Freedom Chart grouping, we're going to do recognition. When you get 1, we're going to recognize it. When you got Wen who's got 1, we're going to recognize it. And we're going to recognize those of you who have offset your cap. Because if you offset your cap, you can go tell anybody, man, I can help you offset your cap. I just did. Imagine saying I'm 1 agent away from offsetting my cap. I don't know about you, but I get excited when someone else is paying $16,000 on my behalf. When you get 1 who get 1, there's a group. We're gonna give you some sort of designation and you will be recognized for it. But I promise no one will feel it bigger and better than you. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment, unless you're driving. Just a moment, close your eyes and do one thing for me. I want you to picture $36,000 in your account right now. That wasn't there before that. In other words, wherever it is, I want you to picture what $36,000 looks like in a number in your account. And I want to ask yourself this question. Last month in February, when some bill came with having that $36,000 in that account made a difference. Would it have made a difference? Well, if it made a difference in February, I promise you it'll make a difference in April. And if it made a difference this past February, my guess is it'll make a difference next February, because look, unless you do something new, you are not going to get something new. So open your eyes for me for the last 15 minutes and open your minds to something that I haven't ever said before. If you want to make this win a huge win, then Golden Nugget number 2, 3, or 4 today is this one. Every day is a brand new day. And here's the process you go through. I look at my freedom chart and I decide, who am I going after next? If it's completely empty, I'm going after Mickey Mouse, number 1. If I got number 1 taken care of, I'm going after Elvis Presley, number 2, while I'm helping Mickey Mouse find his Mickey Mouse, or her Mickey Mouse. Agent attraction is no longer some vague board, some vague distance, some concept. It's an exact thing that the minute you sponsor that person, you go in and you have been victorious. You're not waiting for them to fulfill their cap. You're making the assumption if they capped last year, and you know who they are, they're capping this year as well. It's in that visualization, and it's in that ostracizing everybody else that you're not going to worry about. I'm not worried about 3 people in my group that aren't attracting agents anyway. I'm not worried about, should I be going after that person? Should I be no, you're going after the next one that's going to say yes. You're looking for a different animal. You're looking for the person that's making it easier, because you got a slot to fill and you need someone in it today. If they're not going in it today, you're less concerned about whether they're going to go in it next week. Because I promise you, if you do this the right way, you will not need the agent that's pushing you off 6 months. You will not need them in 6 months. I'm telling you, if you will focus on this project the way you're supposed to, not as a recruiting tool or a recruiting task, but as a life-changing project, which $132,000 a year should be. Let's pause for a moment. Let's give it the respect that it should earn. An extra 10. I talked to someone yesterday. I think it was yesterday, or maybe even Saturday. And he said to me, I need about 300,000 a year. And he's on this Zoom today. And I said to him, good. It starts with 132, doesn't it? See, if you do this right, you're going to sponsor 6. And you're going to help them sponsor 6. And I want you to hear the words I'm using. If you've done this right, it'll duplicate, and those people on your level 6 who have sponsored 6, they will have learned that they're supposed to sponsor how many?
6.
6 more. And I'm not going to call this a 666 promotion. But I am going to say this: we can duplicate 6 on 6 on 6 on 6 and 6 on 6, 6 on 6, and none of us will have a debt problem. Heck, if you just followed 6 on 6 down 7 levels, we could eradicate the US debt. It's a heap of money. But it all starts with 1. It all starts with you getting your 1. This coming Thursday is a very unique training. It's for you all to come back and bring me all your problems. And I'm going to work, if you're part of the Freedom Team group, if you want to be part of the Freedom Chart group, then come back on Thursday with these words. And this is what I want to hear from you. So it's your job to say, I'm committed, I'm going to do it, here's my problem. I want you to come to Thursday with, I'm committed, I'm going to do it, here's my problem. I'm committed, I'm going to do it, here's my problem. See, only in the strength of you knowing your problem can we quickly fix it. I don't care if your problem is I don't know what to do. I don't care if your problem is I don't know who to call. I don't care if your problem is I don't know what to say. I don't care if your problem is once I do that, I keep losing them. I don't care what your problem is. You want it fixed, bring it Thursday and say it this way. I'm committed, I'm going to do this, here's my problem. For those of you that aren't sure yet whether you're participating, join us again next Monday. We'll have a second version of this same chart, but another discussion on why this chart is working. And we're likely to get some people tell us some successes that they've had over the next week. There will be a lot more success conversation during these trainings because your success will drive everyone else's success along the way. Let me pause. We got about 10 minutes for Q&A. I'd like to keep the Q&A specific to questions that you have pertaining the program that we're rolling out. Anybody?
I just have a team of 2 that I want to bring on board, but I'm trying to figure out if it's better to have them come as individuals with this 6-on-6 plan.
First of all, Sherry, what's best for you isn't what's important. It's what's important is what's best for them, right? We both agree.
Yeah,
with that.
right.
So get with someone else that you directly work with, because they're going to help you understand that this is a team. That team comes as independent agents. One sponsors the other anyway. But and that would be, one would be your front line and one would be their front line and your second level, just so you know. Two people will not take the same position in your chart, and they don't take the same position in EXP anyway. Even if they're a married couple, and they're not, even if they're a married couple and they're doing a domestic partnership, one will sponsor the other anyway. Okay.
Got it. Okay, so it doesn't matter with this 6-on-6 plan. That's just the way it's going to be anyway.
Right.
Got it.
You're going to spot if they're both independently capping agents or together, they're going to do 6 million. Will they?
Yes.
Then sponsor one, let them sponsor the other one. And the bottom line is now you've got 6. I need everybody to hear this. I want you to see the last time you needed $6,000. Let me show you how easy it is to get it. You sponsor a capping agent. They bring their best friend. You just made $6,000 a year. I'm going to take you back real quick. 2 years. I'm almost exactly 2 years. 3 years. And were we in Scottsdale 3 years ago? So we're going around the lazy river after the conference, and I'm going around floating with this concept that we're talking about right now. Each one that gets one is $6,000. Each one that gets one is $6,000. Each one that gets one is $6,000. And I was running around. I said, golly, 6 you get 6 is $36,000. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Man, that offsets your cap. And for 2 to 3 years, I've been wanting to debut this specifically for what you're talking about. One who gets one is $6,000. Anybody else have another question? Melissa, it looks like you have a question. Do you have a question? Or are you just leaning forward? We're glad you're here. Oh, you're writing. Anybody else? No questions? Comments? Opinions? Tell me why you think it'll work for you. Quick.
I think it's awesome. I think it works. I think it'll it fires me up, but I think it'll fire any agent up, just the way your presentation had it laid out, where you can, because nobody wants to pay a $16,000 cap. Dude, that's crazy. That's like, hey, what if I can show you how to get rid of your cap forever? You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Here's the words I use in the presentation. I say, hey, Jay, look, there's a couple of ways for you to offset your cap here at EXP. You're going to pay $16,000 in on the first roughly $3 million that goes into the company on $80,000 worth of commissions. There's 2 ways to get that back. One way is to be a beast in real estate and just sell a lot of homes. If you sell 25, 30 or more homes, then EXP will give you your $16,000 back. If you do it a certain way. By the way, do you do that kind of volume? Do you do, Jay? And I would say, do you do 25, 30, 35 deals a year? You would say to me, what, Jay, yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, then that's one way to do it, and you'll get it back in stock, and I'll show you that way. Let me show you another way that everybody does, because most people aren't a beast like you. And by the way, if I was talking to someone that wasn't a beast like you, I'm talking to Tyler Decker. For the moment, he's a mini beast. He's not a many beast. And so I'll say to Tyler, hey, man, look, there's 2 ways to offset your cap. One of them is to sell 30, 35, 40 transactions a year. Are you likely to do that this year? You're going to say to me, no, Tyler, I'm not going to do it. So there's another way to do it for mortals, people like me and you, because I don't do that either. What I do is, in fact, I found this easier. I just realized this as I'm coming to EXP, there's other agents that don't know what I now know. I mean, I just saw an EXP presentation that they'd go, wow. So if we brought your best friend here, just as an example, do you realize you now make $2,800 a year? And if we brought 5 more let's just say over the next year or 2, where you and I working together, and we didn't recruit anybody, we just brought an agent who was wanting to come anyway, because 1,000 agents a week are coming. You might as well just ask your friends if they're open. I'll show them the same thing we showed you. If they come, 6 of them offsets your cap. So when you come over here, imagine a year from now, yeah, you pay in the $16,000. You're not going to get it back through the rev share, through the stock program, because you're not going to do a volume. But if we bring a half a dozen agents, and again, I'll work with you just like we did with you. We just asked, look at a presentation, you looked at it. You asked questions, you liked it. Now you're moving in. Some of your friends will do the same thing. Imagine offsetting your cap that way. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody else was paying the 16 grand? And they're going to say, yeah, love it. Or they're going to say, no, I really don't want to do any of that. Okay, no problem. Then they're done. Any other questions or comments? Jay, thanks for that.
Yes.
Benjamin, go ahead.
Got it.
Oh, that was me. I thought my hand was on Benjamin. I thought he was raising his hand.
That was
Anybody
Patricia.
else have a question? Patricia, hand, go ahead.
Yes, so this will work great for those at 100%ers with the companies that they're currently with, to open a door for them that they are busting their butts to make 100%, but there's no passive, there's no future. There's no health care, there's no stocks, there's no leverage. This plan gives all of that. And I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
by the
being
way,
on an amazing team with Freedom Team.
that's right.
All teams in EXP are not helping their agents produce wealth.
Look, there's some really good teams out there, groups in EXP. There's no argument. A lot of them are helping them with more transactions. Some of them have different systems for agent attraction. None of them have a freedom chart. Okay, I've been doing this type of work for 40 years, both in real estate and out of real estate. I come from the recruiting and training world. I come up recruiting people to train them to recruit more people. And I can promise you this, the one thing I think we've now identified that I believe we've been missing is a target in the workplace. And the target is, it's not a moving target anymore. We're all looking for one. Then we're going to help that one bring their best friend while we're looking for one. And then David Doran's going to wake up at the end of this year and he's going to have 6. Each of them have brought 2 or 3, and you're this close to 132,000 a year. It's the craziest thing in the world, people. For the first time, I want you to understand something. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps. Gosh, for the first time, I actually believe anybody listening right now, no matter how much trouble you've had recruiting in the past, part of the reason you've had recruiting in the past is you didn't have a finite number to go after. Now you do. Remember this, I said it earlier, I said it really early, something you'd learn that you didn't know before. It's going to be easier for agents that are coming to EXP to sponsor agents if they want to than for some of us. Here's another thing that you're not aware of that you have to be. The first 6 you're bringing are you and your sponsor bringing them. The next 6 that they bring, and many of you are breaking down mentally, oh, I can bring them, but I'm not sure they will. Don't worry about whether they will. Because if you'll notice, that's not part of the formula. The formula is 6 capping agents who want to offset their cap, which means you should be talking to them on the way in about this. Okay, you just talked about a great way to recruit 100% realtors. You could say, hey, we've now got a program at EXP for the 100%ers. Would you like to see what it is? Oh, it's magical.
And Eric,
Yep.
so for those of us that realize, and I'm going to say what God has blessed us with, for agents that are on this call that already knew how to sell real estate, God gave us network marketing people that have spent their life building groups and teams and being productive over the years to fine tune what EXP already offers. I didn't need an agent above me that sold real estate for 40 years. I've done it for 33. But I did need Sean Sturck right there, who attracted me because his expertise is attraction. And God has given us that, y'all, and it's time to move. Okay, I'm done.
I think that's a good recording end. Hit the recording. It's a great way to end. Look, we've all been blessed for a number of reasons. Today, we get to take advantage of our blessings. If you want the chart, let Kim know. You can always, again, let your leader know. We'll get you the chart. Sometime today, Kim, that about right? You'll have a chart. We may make some changes to it from a formatting standpoint. We'll let you know if we do. Not hard to figure out. Just put the names in there and populate them. If you have a problem, we are now using workplace chat and the Freedom Team feed in workplace to communicate with each other. It's just the best way to do it. The
So
other day
let
I
me
was
ask
on
again,
with
Eric.
Jason Guessing. I was on with Jason Guessing, and then he immediately wanted me to connect to the new COO, Patrick O'Neill, and we did it all through workplace chat. So I want you to understand, if they're using it, that's what we should be using. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, so back to the chart that we're gonna all use. Kim, you're gonna end up putting it in the Freedom Team feed today. There'll be a file or something we click on and we can, where will that be, or a Google
Just
Drive?
let us know, let your leader know that you're in, and Kim know that you're in, and we will send you a private individual one
Hmm.
through Google or Excel. What is it, Kim?
Google Sheets.
Through Google
Google
Sheets.
Sheets.
And we'll add you and your leader. So Sean, you'll see Patricia's. I'll also get it with permission. I'll have access to all of them. But that's what we're doing. Anybody else got any logistics questions?
Eric, hi, this is Samantha from Los Angeles. Can you summarize briefly what the steps will be in this process?
Well, the steps are you let your leader know or Kim know that you want the chart. And what you do is you come back Thursday with the statement, I'm going to do it. I'm committed to do it, and I'm going to do it. Here's what's going to stop me, or here's what's stopping me. If you have something like that for Thursday, if not, come Thursday and watch everybody else burn. And then back Monday again. Every Monday, everybody should be here. But the steps are, you go look at the chart. If you have anybody in your group frontline to you that's a capping agent and they want to offset their cap, then you put them as number one. They hit the Mickey Mouse spot. If you have two, then they hit the Elvis spot. If they happen to have one underneath them, that is a capping agent. Remember, the one on level 2 for you doesn't need to be offsetting their cap. They just got to be a capping agent. Samantha, did I tell you enough, or did I miss something?
You said, okay, I want to clarify. So you said whoever's ahead of me, that's a capping agent, I basically give accountability to them and let them know I want to do this. And then
No,
Thursday.
you go to your upline leader. Your upline leader, whether it be Sean or me or Tim or Kathy or Jeff or Stephanie. Let us know, or just now, Kim will know. And Samantha Burnett, whoever, do you know who your upline leader is from the Freedom Team?
That's
Samantha?
a good question. It's Sean. Melvin said it's Sean.
Okay, so you're good. So you'll work with Sean. Now look, the people that work with us, we may not do live presentations for you. We may tell you to have them watch our recorded presentation or one of the recorded ones and then get them in our calendar. But you're going to work directly with your leader for 3-way calls for everything in order to get you there. Okay? Kim, you got something?
I gotta leave. Find me
Okay.
a workplace chat. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Anybody
Kim.
else? Final questions? Let's make it happen. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Eric.
Talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Boston.
Thank you so much. Thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks.